I was reading somewhere in one of the articles out there that apparently the government of South Africa is spending 1 million, if not more than 1 million a day, trying to help out the illegal miners who are trapped underground in Stilfontein. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if it's exaggerated. I don't know what is going on, but I have a clip. I think it will give you a tip of the iceberg into the rabbit hole of actually what they're talking about. There's one gentleman who seems to know what actually is going on and is going to be explaining this thing to you. The interview was done, of course, by the Newsroom Africa. I want you to listen, and maybe I didn't hear him properly. Maybe the government is not spending 1 million. Maybe it's something else. But you can find out for yourself actually what is happening. Listen to this.
Illegal mining poses some serious challenges in Stilfontein. What are the immediate priorities for law enforcement in your view?
No, good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, I think the issue here is that you will recall, and one has always argued this, that illegal mining should not only be seen as a once-all or a one-size-fits-all exercise. It takes different forms. And what we are dealing with now, because I think it's critical to raise this issue, what we are dealing now is what we call the violent side of illegal mining that is taking place. You do have situations where what we would call open cast or sand or sand as well as quarry mining. Those are not necessarily difficult situations. Now, if you look at the Stilfontein situation, I think let's not complicate matters that are simplified. Here, in my view, you've got a death or a standoff between people who are demanding that before they can be able to face what we'll call the enforcement of the law, they require to get certain guarantees or favors. And I think that is the issue. My take is that except and only if you are an expert in that field, you can then say what is it that needs to be done. My worry is that at times we don't get answers how to resolve the situation. And I think for me, the law enforcement agencies, including what has been the judgment, by the way, interim judgment, because I never had an exposure to the final judgment, the interim judgment. Although I've got my own reservations on some of its conclusion. For instance, if you say only people who are emergency services can be allowed to go underground, you're actually killing off what the law enforcement agencies have been trying to do to ensure that those that are underground have got confidence on can still go underground. It actually means now law enforcement agencies must look for the accreditation of any individual who will go underground. But I think at this stage, we should be able to remain a bit calm, allow the law enforcement agencies, allow the legal processes to kick in, including the use of what we call the mine rescue service. And I think those are the people who have got the required expertise to deal with this thing. I don't want to put mud on the matter. I think, in my view, we might be falling on a situation where we make an interpretation of a field which we are not expert on. I've not had any individual in South Africa who says you must make a law, but when you must make the law in such a way that it must be flexible enough to allow a situation where individuals can decide not to accept the command of the law enforcement agencies. In South Africa, we know the law is simple and straightforward. Even if you are stopped in an emergency lane, the only conditions that you are allowed to stop in an emergency lane is when you are stopped by law enforcement agencies. And I think let's allow those negotiations. Let's appeal to the people who are underground. They must just be allowed to themselves to come on surface. And when they are on surface, let's deal with the issues that they've got concerned about.
So we're faced with a situation where, on the one hand, the government at some point prescribed a situation of we're going to smoke them out. So we'll force them out. We'll do whatever it takes to ensure that they surface at relatively little cost. Now, the times have changed, right? The courts have ruled against it. The courts have suggested that these individuals must be allowed to come up or must be rescued. But it's coming at a cost. And that cost is R1 million a day, right? R1 million that could be used, R1 million that could be used to support many South Africans who are, some would argue, living legally. So how does government draw the line between a need to enforce the law and also spending money that it really does not have?
No. Let's correct one thing. I think this is what dealing with a very sensitive matter. You'll recall that you already have got more at this stage. I may be incorrect with my calculation. You've got about 2,000 people that are on surface. They have never blocked to come out of surface. 2, let's give a proper interpretation of the judgment. The judgment says, don't block and block the exit. And to the best of my knowledge, there has never been a situation where the exit has been blocked. Secondly, it says, and I think that is critical, make sure that these people, they get the required medical attention, water, and also food. But it never said take it underground. It says let them have this access. To the best of my knowledge, most of those that have come on surface, before any other thing has been done, they were taken to test in terms of their medical condition, provided with the required and the necessary support, whether it's water and other things, and on the basis of that, then that becomes the next level. Yes, I agree with you. Let me. I should have said in the starting point, because we should not also create an impression that everything is okay. One of the first problems that we are having in South Africa is what people have been talking about. We are facing and confronted by also, I don't know, it might be a strong word to use, but I can't borrow another word. We are confronted by a situation of our failure to transform the economy of this country, especially at a macroeconomic level. That does not give a justification, obviously, that you needed to have situations of this nature. But the second thing, not just the elephant of the room because it's becoming illegal mining, the elephant of the room is also the question of to what extent do we put the national treasury at the center of ensuring that we close these derelict and ownerless mines. Because in the absence of your required financial resources to close those derelict and ownerless mines, you will continue to have this situation from mine to mine because all what you will be told that there is not enough resources. And it's so unfortunate that for me, I don't think the National Treasury has shown a cooperative interest to address a matter that we've always called and said it is a national threat to security. The question then of the monies that how much do you spend on this thing? It will be very difficult for me to say, no, don't spend R1 million taking off a person underground. I'm saying part of the negotiations that must take place is to ensure that we save as many lives as possible, and those individuals must be persuaded to come on surface. And if it needs be that we must get such amount of monies to retrieve them. The problem is what we always call fruitful, wasteful, and fruitless expenditure.